top so that you don't steal the pen, but I'm a pen stealer, so I'll go home and I'll have this pen with a big flower on the top. Okay, so I'm going to pass around a paper that you are going to keep face down. And we're going to do a little activity. So take the paper, no cheating, and make sure everybody at your table has one, and then I'll tell you what to do with it. So the reason I planned this activity is because you now have a group that has 30 members in it. And when you get to that level in a BNI chapter, it can be hard. It can be hard, it doesn't have to be, but it can be hard to remember who everybody is and what their job is and all of this. Now, in this activity for some groups is an anxiety-producing activity, but I have the feeling that in this group, which very much for a large chapter has this kind of family atmosphere to it, you're going to feel very proud of yourself. So in a minute, you're going to turn over this paper, and you're going to see that it has the name, I believe, of everybody in your chapter. And next to it is a blank space. So your job is to fill in what they do. And we're going to see how much you can fill in 1 minute. Okay? All right. On your mark, get set, go. Seconds left. Seconds left. All right, and pens down. Awesome. This is great. I'm not seeing a lot of blanks. So did anybody get the whole thing in 1 minute? Probably not. I did. All right, good. So it's my cheeky way of saying to you that if you're going to give good referrals, the very first step is you got to know what each other does. And you've got to know it well. That's where it begins. Now, as your chapter grows and grows, which it will, it's going to be very important that you keep doing what you're doing, as I can see here, which is deeply knowing what the other person does, because that's the only way to begin keeping them at the top of mind. So, now you have this list, just plain piece of paper, that you can have with you and put it somewhere. Put it near your desk, hang it up by your desk, put it somewhere so that you don't just think of your referrals on Wednesday morning and then Thursday comes and off you are, because all of us are busy doing our careers and the things that we love. So you have to have an intention of keeping people sort of top of mind. So the first thing I want to talk about in the ability to give good referrals actually starts with what you're doing in your own business. And when I came last time, I worked with you on how to give a really good infomercial. And so it's very important that when you stand up and you have that 30 seconds, I said this at the Leadership Summit, that when you do public speaking, I'm a life coach, but the way I find my clients is through public speaking. So when you're a public speaker, to be able to stand up in front of a room of 30 people, we hustle for that. We hustle hardcore for that all the time in public speaking. So the fact that you come here and you just have an audience of 30 every week, you have a speaking engagement every week, that's gold. So what you want to do with that is make that 30 seconds your own personal gold. How are they going to know what you do? And the best way is to be specific. It's very tempting to get up and say, you know, as a life coach, I help people with relationships, I help people with business, I help people who want to do this and this and that. And as soon as I start to do that, your mind just goes, it shuts off. You can't maintain that much information. But if I paint a picture for you, I'm going to give you an example just as a refresher. If I paint a picture for you of a really specific example, it ignites a person in your mind that you know. Whereas if I just say, so I'm looking for people who want to live happier, better lives. It doesn't give you a specific person in your mind. But if I say this, I'm Lauren Brollier, I'm a life coach. I like to help people live lives they love. Recently, I was working with a client, age 70, who wanted to fall in love again. She hadn't dated for 20 years since her divorce. And through the work we did together, she met a really cute guy named Dave. And Dave and her have been together for over a year now, through the 4 months her and I did together. So if you know someone else who thinks their time has passed for love, send them my way. Now, a lot of times people don't like to do it and so specific because they're like, but I do so many other things and I'm going to limit myself. But what I just did is I ignited in all of your minds someone that you know that's thinks they're past their time and wants to fall in love again. I just did that for every one of you. So that's what you want to do when you stand up and give the infomercial. Give them somebody specific. Give them the profile of a specific person based on someone you've already helped so that it ignites in their mind a very specific person. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Okay. So part 2 of this. You can get super, super specific. So here's something really specific. This is a classic story in our BNI region, but somebody stands up and in their infomercial says, I'm looking to meet the CEO of Adidas. And you might think, how likely is that something like that's gonna happen, right? But guess what happened at the end of that meeting? Someone walks up to me and says, well, I can't introduce you to the CEO of Adidas, but my brother-in-law is the CEO of Brooks Brothers. Would you like to meet him? Think that was a good, think he'd like to meet that person? Yeah. So don't be afraid to be super specific because everybody in this room has a network of at least 200 people, times that by 30, and then you never know who somebody knows. So when you get up in your 10-minute presentation, in your 30-second infomercial, be specific, ask for what you want so people can get to know you. That's how the referrals start getting really good. Because when we're all just sort of floating in general, that's when our referrals are like a 1, 2, 3 on the scale, because we're not really sure. When you start getting really specific in your presentations, that's when you start getting those really hot referrals. And that's what this chapter is already thriving, so now you just have to kick it up a notch, okay? All right, so with that being said, the next way that you start really igniting your ability to give good referrals as a chapter is to ask the right questions during one-to-ones. Now, it's very tempting. I'm guilty of this, to make a one-to-one just party time. You know, like let's go get a cocktail, let's go get a cup of coffee, let's just hang out and get to know each other. And if you're an extroverted person like me, like we thrive on that, like let's just have a party time. However, you're not really getting to know how you can give a great referral. So we've got some tools in BNI to help you with your one-to-ones. So I'm going to bring you back to something, I think I mentioned this the last time I was here. These are the questions you want to focus on during your one-to-ones. The first is, what could people be planning that triggers the need for your business? So that's what you want to ask of your partner, and hopefully they'll ask it back to you. What would someone be planning that would trigger the need for your business? So somebody just give me a share out on that.
Remodel.
Okay, if someone's planning a remodel. Marriage. Starting a new business. Workshop. Moving. Okay, so you start saying, okay, if you know someone who's planning X, Y, and Z, that triggers the need for my business. The second one, what is somebody bragging about, or I like to say celebrating? What is someone celebrating that could trigger the need for your business?
Excellent employees they want to move on.
Excellent employees.
Turning 65.
Turning 65.
Retiring.
Retiring. Graduation. Kids going to college. Holidays. Okay. And then the final one is, what is somebody complaining about? That one's usually easiest for most of us because we're solving a pain point. What's someone complaining about?
Power outages.
Power outages. your business is going to be booming this year.
Bookkeeper.
What is it?
Tax letters from IRS.
Ah, love letters from the IRS. Teeth pain. Teeth pain.
No good men out there.
No good men out there. There you go.
Not getting paid.
Here, here, I second that nonsense.
So when you start painting the picture, this is what happens. I guarantee you your one-to-one partner is going to go, oh, I didn't know you did that. Because now we're getting really specific. Now, let's say as a dentist, we all know what people are complaining about, but we might not know what people are celebrating or planning that could trigger the need for that service. So as we learn that about each other, now we have a deeper understanding of what it might look like. So that's one thing to do during one-to-ones. Also, ask them, who's your avatar client? Like this is, I'm paint for them and you do vice versa. Paint for each other. This is the client I love to work with. Well, oftentimes for me as a life coach, people would love to give me like their messiest friend and have me fix them. And that's a terrible referral for me. There's a joke. How many life coaches does it take to change a light bulb? Only one, but the light bulb has to want to change. So people think life coach and they're like, oh, I got someone real messy that you can fix. And that's a terrible referral for me. A great referral for me is someone who's already successful and just wants to deepen their life. Because if they're already successful, they've already got some of the tools in place. And so people might not know that about a life coach. Just like there's all sorts of things about all of your professions that people don't know. So you want to start painting what you really are looking for so they can start matching you up with people. All right, so then it gives time to actually give a referral. And in order to give a referral, you have to be listening with different ears. We don't want to become poachers. So we're not like, okay, every conversation I have, I'm going to do a BNI referral. Not like that. We don't want to get all weird with our energy. But we want to start listening with different ears. And when you know your chapter members really, really well, like we just talked about, like in and out their business, somebody says, you know, I'm looking at my website and I'm not feeling like it's really showing what I could show. Then you have a whole team of people that you can refer to. You start listening with different ears. Sometimes they won't even know that they need a service. They're not going to say, I'm looking for someone to build my website. They're going to say something like, business is slow. Or they're going to say something like, every time in between transactions I get this anxiety. Like being in sales is so up and down. They're not saying, I'm looking for a coach to help me with that. They're saying something that in your mind is going to trigger, oh, they need it. So as you listen and as you ask questions, whoever it is, your brother, your sister, your client, you could then, once you know it's a match, through your questioning, you say, I actually know someone that I really trust that can help you with that. And then you give a testimonial. Now, if you have never worked with the person, where have you heard testimonials about that person's work? Every Wednesday morning. So, like, if I've not ever worked with Polly, for example, I can say, there's like 10 people that I know who've worked with Polly, and they're like ecstatic over what she did for them. And here's some of the things I've heard them say. So you want to give a testimonial that is showing that you really trust the person you're about to refer to. And then here's when it actually becomes a referral. If at that moment you hand them a business card and say, give them a call, it's kind of not a referral. And the reason why is that person's going to take that business card, and because they weren't even looking for somebody anyway, you're just suggesting it, they're going to put it in their pocket and nothing's going to happen with it. In BNI, it's a referral when you actually make a connection. So I'm hearing someone's pain point, I'm hearing, whatever it is, the sales, like let's go with the sales. I'm in sales, every time I just get this anxiety in between sales. I know someone who can really help you. Would it be okay with you if I introduced you to over email? You have a chat, and if it's a go, that's awesome. If not, really nice person that I trust will take care of you. They say yes, and then I connect them over email. That is a true referral. That is a referral. Just handing a business card, really, I mean, you can track it if you want that, but it's really not a referral because there's no connection made. Even better if you say, so-and-so and I are going out to coffee, do you want to come with us? And we all just chit-chat. That's like an on-fire referral, but the email is, for most of us, the very best. Any questions about that process of giving a referral?
I don't have a question. Well, not about that specifically, but I have worked to recruit folks into BNI who I value their partnership and what they do. And on several occasions, I've had, they've come and they've decided BNI is not a mix for them, but they have got a need. Mm-hmm. And so, and we'll be talking, or they'll throw something out and I'll go, Dad, if you're thinking about buying a property, you should really talk to Pete Cullen. Or, I need flooring, well, you should really talk to David Montanari. Oh, is this somebody from your BNI group? And I'm like, yes.
It's from my
Yes.
church.
I'm like, it's, I sometimes get this kind of weird vibe, like, people know I worked with Pete for 15 years, right? He's my go-to guy for all of my own personal property sales. But yet they're like, wait a minute, are you trying to like,
Stack your numbers.
like what do you get out of this? And I'm like, I get nothing out of this. It's just I'm referring you on to somebody I have worked with for 15 years who's done a great job for me. Take it, you know, I can introduce, but they're like, oh, is this a BNI
So are these
person?
people that have visited?
Yeah.
And so they know BNI?
Yeah.
Okay, so in that case, I think I would just say I worked with Pete long time before BNI. But if I can put my life coach hat on for a second, I hope you don't mind.
No, go ahead.
Everything gets reflected back to us. So if we feel weird about something, it gets reflected back to us. Or if we're thinking, I had a colleague recently who coaches some of the same programs I coach. And she said to me, every time I get to week 7 and we start talking about this particular mindset strategy, my clients fall off. Has that ever happened to you? And I was like, no, that's never happened to me. And then I had some experiences that always happened to me that she'd never had, and it's the exact same program we're coaching. So who's the variable, right? So what I would highly recommend is, because this is common, this is not just you. If you have any weirdness about referring, start letting go of that weirdness and start telling yourself, I'm connecting people, I'm a connector, I'm enriching people's lives. I'm doing something that's making my whole community thrive. And you start telling yourself that before an interaction, so that because when something like that has happened to us once, it gets stuck in our subconscious, and then every time we're thinking, oh, I hope they don't think this. And so if we work on kind of releasing that feeling and being really ready and able to say, when they do say that, of course it's from BNI, that's my crew, and just make it light and feel good about making it light, then it'll get easier.
Well, it's interesting. It's I've noticed it's a specific kind of personality type. There have been two people that this has happened with, and they are super suspicious of anything that you want, but yet they'll ask you for assistance, but then they don't really want it.
Right.
Stop giving them answers so
I'm
quickly.
telling you. I'm like, hey, I can help you, and I'm a fixer. Hey, I can help you with this. Right?
So I think, it's like the same personality that thinks their auto mechanics screwing them out of money and the floor guys charging them more. It's that personality, and that's okay. They're not the right personality for BNI anyway, because it's a giver's society. So yeah.
Can I address that specifically? I mean, Darla, you're the perfect person to give referrals because you have worked with almost everybody in the group personally. So even if it wasn't just a matter of you sitting there and listening to us speak, you can say, I'm referring this person because I've worked with them and I've got these results.
Yep.
So I think beyond just being a member of the group,
Well, and that's, but they know I've used Brand Fusion. They know I've used David. They know I've used Mike, and Pete, and Steve. But, it's like, they're literally 2 people who have been like, no.
Yeah.
Steve knows one, because you guys actually talked. And then David, she was the same person you went out and did a bid on stairs for.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it was like, no, these are your BNI
people
peeps.
in a universe of 7 billion. So that's what I say. I mean, not that we don't care about people, but when they're contracted like that all the time, it's like, well,
and I asked the question to see if anybody else had had that experience.
No,
where,
I did,
yeah.
Well, I also think you can say my business is booming.
Well, that's
people
it, like,
so
I
if
said.
they don't want it, that's okay.
right. Yeah, and also, you're in a BNI chapter, but really, even if there was no BNI corporate and you were just a networking group that met every week, you're meeting so that you can help each other gain. And so people get weird. That's okay. People get weird. People get weird about stuff all the time. It's like, that's okay. Yeah.
Lauren, specific question regarding your process of giving a testimonial, connecting via email, things like that. How do you feel, or do you recommend, sometime afterwards reaching out to the person that you had made that introduction between them and the person in your group and saying, hey, were you able to get in touch? How did that go for you? Such and such. Because I had done the same thing for Vicky. Vicky connected with the person. they had thank you for closed business, and I reached out to the referral and just said, hey, wanted to make sure you guys connected. How was your experience? And she said, oh, it was lovely. It was great, things like that. So do you recommend if they haven't, or maybe they haven't connected yet, kind of checking in?
Yeah.
So that it seems like you actually do care. You weren't just like, here's a connection later.
Yes, this is actually the crucial next step. So what happens when you either give that, referral or you get the referral? The first thing is if you're someone that's receiving a referral, follow up quickly. Because the worst thing that can happen is somebody gives you a referral, you connect them over email, and then you come back to your meeting the next week and you say, hey, did you reach out to my client? I gave you the referral. Oh, sorry, I didn't have time to do it yet. You're not going to be getting very many more referrals. So you want to first, if you're the person receiving the referral, do it quickly. Thank the person, connect with that person. I was actually reading last night on BNI Connect that if you can follow up within 2 hours, that's when you actually have the best chance of closing business. So I thought about this myself. I was at a conference all weekend and I missed a referral that came in, and it was 2 days later I replied to the email and I was like, oh, that wasn't my best. So you want to as much as you can, very much as you can, respond quickly. Now, if you're the person who gives the referral, you want to follow up with both. Not right away, but give it like a week and then go to, like let's say it's a client you've referred and say, hey, how did it go with so-and-so? And then back to the person, a really nice thing you can say is, was that a good referral for you? Because then you can develop a deeper relationship. That wasn't the greatest referral for me because she was looking for X and I do Y. Or that was a great referral for me, and share with each other, because this is how you deepen. It's okay to say, that wasn't a great referral for me. It's not a criticism of the person who gave you the referral. It's just a neutral sort of, here's why that type of referral doesn't tend to be the best for me. So that's what you want to do. I think the follow-up is important. Let me see if I'm missing anything. No, the only other thing that I wanted to say is there's a lot of other ways, other than just listening for a need, that you can give referrals. I'm going to use an example with Claudia. Claudia made for me 50 pieces, beautiful sterling silver charms for my workshop that I had in September. And I gave every client who was present put a beautiful little box in their hand that Claudia had crafted, and they got to open it up and see their gift. And it was the most amazing thing ever. And so on my social media and on my, I belong to like a coaching group, I posted all sorts of pictures of Claudia's work. So what do you think happened? I want that for my clients, and I connected her. It's not a done deal yet, but I connected her with someone who said, I want to have that for my clients. I'm doing a retreat, she's doing a retreat in Costa Rica, and I want to have Claudia make something for my clients. She's the daughter of my mentor who runs a $60 million company. And you don't know this, but I sent Mary one of the charms. And I put it in the mail and sent it to her house. So that's the very best way I can give a referral is look at the work. Look at how I've enjoyed it. Use each other. Because then immediately people are like, I want that. And it sparks something. So that is the other thing. If you're using someone's work in this room, like celebrate them. Scream to the rooftops what a good job they did for you, because that's the very best way to start getting referrals popping in. All right. Any other questions? We done? We good?
No.
Okay. You're just like, yay. Okay, good. I'm like, my brain over